What's up, YouTube? You guys are welcoming into my very first episode of my series. This is my intro to YouTube and everything. You guys are gonna see everything that I do from this YouTube series. I'm recording this on Zoom right now. I'm recording a podcast, actually. I'm going to be recording my podcast, so you guys are going to be able to see that. This is my little office workspace. I'm on TikTok. I'm on everything. You can find me at Assistance HQ across the board at any social media, Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Assistance HQ. So if you search Assistance HQ, you'll find me. And this, YouTube series is really about the growth of my business. I'm a virtual assistant. I started this at the beginning of the year 2020. I've lacked a lot getting content onto YouTube, so I'm really starting to get on it now. I have content on all of my other social medias, and this is really just to show the wide view of what I do. So you're going to see me actually do my podcast today because that's what I'm doing. And even though this podcast is for my podcast, this YouTube series is completely separate because you guys are really going to be able to see the entire view of everything. So you're going to see the podcast, but you're going to see me, how I do my edits, how I actually do the podcast, how I do my takes and everything. So what you guys don't know is I have my podcast notes lined up right here so I can record on my phone, and that's how all of this goes. So really, more back to me is I'm a virtual assistant. I'm 22. I started this at the beginning of the year. I've gotten some traction and everything. I actually just landed another client today. I'm doing up the proposal right now. Not right now, but tonight. And it's to really show the growth of Angelo's Assistants of America, which is a virtual assistant company. I love to travel, and so that's really why I was thinking of doing this, and how I really got into it is because I'm able to do this from anywhere. So right now I'm in my bedroom, and actually it's YouTube, so I'll show you guys my workspace. This is this is not my laptop. I'm on my laptop right now. That is my girlfriend's computer. That is my scanner, my ashtray, and my printer. So that's really what I have right now. And I'm on my laptop, and then my phone. That's really my lifeblood and everything for what I'm doing. So it's not much, but you guys are going to be able to see the growth. So I'm excited to have all of that actually going. So without further ado, we're going to get into my podcast. It's really crazy. So all right. So I use this app called Anchor.fm. It allows me to distribute my podcast everywhere for free. I can make my podcast up here. I can do my intros. I can cut it up and everything. So it's a really great app. If you're thinking about podcasting, I definitely recommend it. So I'll drop the link in the bio. So this is my very first YouTube video. So bear with me on however this is going to go. But as I grow, as I get better and everything, you guys are going to love the content. But really focus on the content because, the value that I'm bringing and the story is going to be amazing. So it's like, just go see my other social medias and you'll see where I've started from and where I'm at now. So you'll see like the beginning of the year content all the way up till now. So it's been a lot so far. So let's get this going. We're recording the intro first. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Ramblings. I didn't like my voice on that. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Ramblings. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Ramblings. You're listening to... dang.
You're so funny.
So hold on, let's try it again. Hey guys, welcome to The Ramblings. You're listening to... dang. No. See, the intro is always the hardest because it's like I don't have a concrete intro. I really probably should get one. Because I always like to say the episode. So it's like episode 4. This is episode 4 of this podcast. So let's try this one. Hey guys, you're listening to The Ramblings. This is your host, Angela Roberts Jr. And tune in. No, I don't like that one either. All right, so how about, hey guys, you're listening to Angelo Roberts Jr., and this is The Ramblings. Oh, no. What's up, internet? What's up, internet? Okay, here we go. Damn. What's up, internet? It's your host, what's up, internet? It's your host, Angela, and you're listening to another episode of The Ramblings. Okay. What's up, internet? It's your host, Angelo Roberts Jr., and you're listening to another episode of The Ramblings. See, there we go. I'm gonna add some music to it because I can do that. What do I usually do? Let's do a little something in the background. Yeah, I like this little. I like the in the background jazz intro. Dang, I messed that up. All right, so let's do it again. Except I have to add my into the sponsor episode. My like a quick break. Hey guys, this is your host Angelo Roberts, and you're listening to the Rock. Dang. Hey guys, what's up, internet? This is your host Angelo Roberts. Okay. What's up, internet? This is your host Angelo Roberts Jr., and you're listening to another episode of The Ramblings. Before we get into today's podcast, a quick break. There we go. Perfect intro. Add, background, save, intro. We now have our intro done. We're going to add an interlude that matches our intro music. We're going to add a sponsored segment to make sure we can get paid. Save. We're going to, all right, so we should also make sure we tell them to follow us across the social medias. So, and we're back. Before we get into the podcast, okay, no, we can just add that as part of the thing. So let's make sure we get that. So we're actually going to go live into the body part of the podcast of this is how we do it, you know. And because this is YouTube, I'm able to show you guys like this is the longer edit of what I do. So bear with. I'm glad I'm able to chop this up. So let's get into the podcast. I should get a jug of water. Okay. What's up, internet? We're back. Welcome. Nope, I don't like how I started that. What's up, internet? We're back with. What's up, internet? We're back. And welcome to another episode of The Ramblings. Okay, yeah. What's up, internet? We're back with another episode of The Ramblings. Before we get into it, just wanted to let you guys know we are now finally up and live on Apple Podcast. Yes. I don't know how long it took for all of that to happen, but I just started marketing today. If you don't follow me on my social medias, follow me at Assistance HQ across all of my social medias because you can find me everywhere at Assistance HQ because this is the headquarters of Assistance. I know that's cheesy, but that's really going to be my tagline for like my everything, you know? So that's really what I wanted to get across is that we are on Apple Podcasts. I'm so happy to announce that it's been a long time. So another thing is we're actually recording live on YouTube right now. I don't like how I did any of that minute, so I can delete that because it's only been a minute. All right. Run it back, Turbo. I don't have a lot of followers, but if his blows up, I don't know if he can sue me for that. So let's run it. What's up, internet? You're listening to another episode of The Ramblings. Before we start, I just want to let you guys know that we are finally live on Apple Podcasts. So we can now search for whatever you want on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever you prefer to listen to your podcast. You can find us at The Ramblings. Also, we are live recording right now for YouTube. So if you want to go and check out the behind the scenes of this podcast, you can actually go see the YouTube. It's going to be at Assistance HQ, just like you can find all of my other social media at Assistance HQ. Now, let's get into the actual business. I just submitted us meeting the podcast an episode so that we can, be featured on iHeartRadio. So now I'm going to try and get the podcast on iHeartRadio, and I just submitted so I can hopefully possibly get a shout out. So making some possible moves, trying to grow the podcast. We actually have viewers from Ireland and UK. I was able to look at the analytics and everything right before we started. So we have, viewers from, I can say I'm international. How many podcasters can say that? I'm internationally listened to. I don't know if it's how many people it is, but 17% of the podcast listeners from, my previous podcasts are from a different country. So, I'm international, Ooh. So I'm very happy and excited to do that. Thank you guys to everyone back home. Thank you to all my listeners to making this possible. It's not a Grammy speech or anything, but I do want to say thank you to everybody that has been able to make this possible and that has really supported me on this journey, because it's meant a lot to me. If you were there with me when I started Stretch Your Mind, from doing it in like my other office, I was, actually doing push-ups on my live and talking to people, like stretching your mind in both ways, like mentally and physically and everything, to now actually being on Zoom, recording from my YouTube while actually recording my anchor, like for my podcast, and then going to chop this up as soon as I'm done. It's been a long way. So I just like to really would thank you to everyone that has come. And the meaning behind that has been this new mantra that I've really taken on called DER. Do, execute, repeat. Let me say that again. Do, execute, repeat. And what that really means is the more you do, the more you should execute. And the difference between doing and executing is you're doing it thoroughly. You're doing it precisely in tune with data, per se, with experience and knowledge. So, and the reason that I say do, execute, and repeat is because before you do anything, jump into it. I'm a big research person before I get into things. However, I have now been just jumping in and just start doing it. Because if you start to take too long to ponder over it, you're not going to get into it. It's going to take a little bit too long. So the purpose of doing before you actually plan is to see how much you enjoy it, because learning on the fly is a very important skill in business. And the reason it's important is because you're going to have obstacles thrown at you at so many different directions that it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So adapting on the fly is going to be very important. So that's why I've really created this new mantra thing that I'm trying to do, and I'm calling it DER. DER, whatever your acronym, whatever you want to say, but it's DER. And understand that it's do, execute, and repeat. Do it first, then you're going to collect data, see if you really like it, and then if you really like it, now you're going to implement a plan, do some more research, do some strategizing, and then you're going to execute. So now that you've done it, you kind of know what to do. Now that you've studied and gone back and maybe done it again, you've gotten some experience, you're going to execute, and then repeat. That's why I'm trying to say do, execute, repeat. And the reason that this really has taken on a new meaning is because you're able to implement this into your life for almost anything. If you're trying to drive, you can't learn to really drive by reading a book. If you wanted to learn to drive, you're going to have to get behind the wheel of a car and drive. So you're going to have to gain some experience by doing, execute, and then repeat with anything. So it's really about the process when you think about it. It's more about learning how to do things versus knowing how to do it. Because if you can quickly learn how to do things, if you can pick things up and have a skill learned in a matter of a day, you are unstoppable. There's literally going to be nobody that's going to be able to like beat you in almost anything, because if you are able to learn and adapt at that speed, you are going to be good at anything. Think of a tennis player, Serena Williams. She is able to adapt on the fly to her opponent's like stroke, being able to see how they like to swing the ball, where their sweet spots are, where they're fast at, where they're not fast at. The same goes for when you're trying to analyze a business. What are you good at? What's your marketing strategy? What's your accounting system? What's your, how are you paying your employees? What is your atmosphere like? All of that stuff goes into play. And how are you navigating that? How are you going to move through the obstacles of everyday business challenges? Just like there's going to be life challenges, there's going to be things in your career path that you're going to have to deal with on top of that. So that's really why I've come up with it being about the process, because the process is what gets you through things. And the better you are at working your process, the better you're going to be at executing. Because if you work your process, you're going to execute. It's simple. Working your process means that you've already now you've gained some experience, and you're able to now make a plan, a long-term plan that shifts and moves goals forward. And that's really all that is. The process is what you should be focusing on, because it's what everything happens. And I really think that should be what life is about, the process. Because if you're not like the end goal of everything, if you accomplished everything at an early age, what is the point? Like, now what? If you had a purpose in life, say your purpose was to save people. Let's say theoretically, you saved everybody on earth and no one else needed to be saved. That would never happen. That's a far-fetched thing. That would never happen. But say it was possible. Say the person was saving everybody. He saved everybody. Now what? How long did it? If it took you 20 years and you knew that was your purpose since you were like, say, 15, 20, now what? Even if it took you 30, 40 years, you're 60. Now what are you going to do with your life for the next 25 years? You have no purpose now. So that's why set unattainable goals. Set goals that are so far in the future, you have to work like now and every day just to get to it later. Because that's what life is going to be. Like, you might as well work towards something that you're happy to. Like, if life is so short but so long, what are you doing in the meantime and in between time? If you don't have a goal that you're working towards long term, what are you doing when you get there? Who knows? There's a process. So, like Elon Musk, if you're trying to get, living on the moon or living on Mars or whatever, you got to start in places. You can't just jump straight into rockets. He started with coding and robotics, and then Tesla, and then NASA stuff. So it's about the process, because he's still not there yet. And if it doesn't happen in his lifetime, and he, however, is the person that finds out that it's possible and then passes it on, that's almost good enough too. Because like, what else are you really trying to aim for in life? It's the constant breed of innovation. If you set goals that are almost unobtainable, or that would take so long for you to obtain, why not set that? You only have but so long. If you're like, oh, that would take my entire life to do, so what else are you going to do with your life? Answer me that. What else are you going to do with your life? You might as well strive for a goal. I hope that comes off properly. What else are you going to do with your life if you're not like striving for your goal? Because if you're not striving for something, then you're just kind of moseying along. That's not fun. Now you're talking about how life sucks and is complaining. I mean, yeah, of course it sucks. You're not working or doing anything. What are you trying to do? It's the constant breed of innovation, and I love that. If you set a long-term goal, just like Elon Musk did in this situation of trying to get to space and everything. Now we have Tesla. It is an all-electric car. We have had gas cars and hybrid cars and kind of electric cars, and now we have fully electric cars that can self-drive on top of that. They self-drive and self-parallel park. Like we not only do they drive, they turn and go on the highway and blink and do all of these other human characteristics without the human actually doing it. I've seen a picture today. Oh my gosh, I didn't even put that in my notes. I seen a picture today, and it was the cameraman and the camera have been replaced in 10 years. And it was a picture of CNN. It was a cameraman, camera crew in '09, cameraman, camera crew, boom, 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 boom. You know, breaking news, breaking news. You got to follow it with that. To in 2019, 2020, so in a matter of 9 to 10 years, a drone, the camera on it. Little drone, not intrusive, not loud, just able to be there, able to probably move a little bit faster, get lower, able to hit different angles, has now replaced the human and the actual camera. All three, the human, the camera, and the helicopter. And the person driving the helicopter too. So now technology is moving so fast. It's the breeding of innovation because other people have other things that have to be done. So if you if there was a drone, like the drone, right? Now there's apps built around the drone. It's constant innovation that's going on around you. And that's why if you set unobtainably or super long goals, you can either make it obtainable for other people or somebody else and have been the person that now has the behind the blueprint of whatever is the new piece of discovery in the next so and so years of whenever you discover this. But you might actually do that. Whatever was unobtainable at one point has become obtainable. There was no idea that electricity could be harnessed. All of a sudden, someone comes by, key ups, boom. Oh, snap, we can control this. And now we have all electric cars. From not even knowing what the flip electricity is to now having fully electric cars. However, he had no idea at that point that that's what that could go to. So you have no idea what if you worked your entire life to what would be unobtainable, what you could achieve by the time you're done. And like I said, what else do you have to work towards? So, it's really just about the process and in the middle. And in the middle, like there's so many different things that you can do. Like what I'm doing. I have now taken a new liking to my own process, So as a virtual assistant and having this coronavirus, I used to get my clients going to actual physical live face-to-face networking meetings, in a room, shaking hands, smiling, and actually gaining clients that way. So now I have to find a different way to get clients. And the only way to do that is internet. However, that has now turned out to be something in my favor. I'm now going to be running campaigns based on, hey, you are home, your business needs help, but you can't actually meet people, be in the office, or have people doing anything like that. Hire a virtual assistant. That is where I come in. You need help, but there's a coronavirus. You can't actually get the physical help you might need. And now the virtual assistant comes in, and that's me. So that's what I do. I actually have a jug of water here now. I don't know if you guys were able to catch it, but I did a little stop and got me a jug of water. I'm getting good with these skills now. My podcasting is going up so much. No pat on the back to me. I don't like to pat myself on the back too much, but that's a pat on the back for me right there. Because oh my gosh, I really the growth of my content has been so much, and I'm really having fun with it because that's really what I'm talking about. My process is fun. I love what I do, and my process is fun. I've taken a liking to the growth of how I have to grow now. This new challenge of, okay, I used to have to go to networking meetings, and that's how I was getting clients to really get my feet wet and get my community to know about me, to now I can't even do that. where I can still go to networking meetings virtually, but they're starting to tighten up, and it's, you do have to pay for those. On a tight budget like I have, it's a little bit harder. So I really have to switch to now social media marketing, which is what I've now taken a love to in terms of myself. Podcasting, YouTube, doing all of this content for my business, knowing that it's going to help my business is fun. It's fun to do it even if it really wasn't doing much, because I just love doing this. This time right here for me is my venting, my talking to you guys, and being able to, whoever's watching it, just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you like it, do what you like to do too. That's why I encourage it. There's enough money for everybody. And I really learned that being a virtual assistant, because when I first started out and was doing research and everything, I was reading other virtual assistants saying, listen, it's okay to subcontract to other virtual assistants if you don't have the skill, because there's enough business for everybody. There's not enough of us, but so many of us that it's like there's enough business for everybody. There's billions of people on the planet, billions of dollars, trillions of dollars in circulation. There's a niche, there's a spot for everyone to make their money, and it cannot, just don't be greedy, because that's where people come to hate capitalism. I feel like, where the greed steps in. Because if there's billions of people and trillions of dollars in circulation, and people are getting rich off of Instagram, people are able to fit in where they get in. So I've really taken a liking to this new social media thing I'm doing, so much so that I've created a new thing. I'm actually going to show you guys. I've made my own content creation structure, and I will say it is based off of Gary's V, but it's my own. I took it a step further, 2 steps further. It's not just content, micro content, and breakouts and everything. I'm actually going to show you guys. And so if you're listening on the podcast, you can actually go on my YouTube and see the behind the scenes. Like I said, you'll see the podcast, but you can actually see the notebook and the breakout that I'm showing these people. And only the YouTube will be able to see the little secret that my pointer. My YouTube is the only people that will be able to see my secret pointer. So this is my content creation strategy that I'm going to be doing. I do primary content first. Primary content is content like this YouTube that I'm doing and this podcast. However, the podcast also can double as mid-level content. And the reason that it can double as mid-level content is because this YouTube content that I'm doing on Zoom right now for you guys is a much larger scale. I was recording on for my YouTube much more before I was recording for this podcast, so that you guys could see everything in the ins and outs of what's going on and what I do. So I start with primary content, like the content that I'm recording for you guys right now. And then I move it on to mid-level content, like the content for the podcast that I'm recording that you guys on the podcast are listening to. And then I move it into sub-content, which is articles and segments. So I'll be chopping this up into certain segments that I'll be posting that you guys will see, and then articles. So I can either transcript it out, which is what I'll be doing, so that these segments or these particular topics that I talk about are then translated to articles. After that, we have micro content, which is here, which is quotes, snippets, clips of these articles into much smaller frames and much more, bite-sized pieces of content. And then I have something called, all the way down here after the example, is extension content. And what extension content is just an extended, like, hey, I talked about this topic and I didn't get to hit every single point that I want to. So that's me going deeper into that actual content. Put the pointer away now. So that's really how I've been doing my new content strategy and everything, So if you really would like to go actually see it, you can go on the YouTube page or visit the website. That's another thing I'm doing. I'm adding it so that everything that goes on my YouTube will also be on the website. I hope that. Yeah, everything that's on my YouTube will also be on the website, and you're listening to it on the podcast. So a lot of things have been going on right now. So definitely check out how everything's been going on. And that's really what has been leading me to being happy about the social media. I used to care about ums, and then I heard Gary Vee say a lot of ums, and I was like, dang, I guess I don't have to like stop myself from saying But I've really cut out my ums because I really have been trying to be a better public speaker because I have these kitchen keynotes that I'm trying to do. And my kitchen keynotes are going to be, recorded on my Zoom for YouTube because they're going to be my larger pieces of content, like when I do my behind the scenes for the podcasting. But it's gonna be, I'm getting a green screen. I'm getting like this camera that follows my face and everything, and I'm gonna do like my own keynote. So if you've ever been to like a conference, or if you've ever been to like a big like release, like Apple and everything, and the person's on the stage and they're like they have like the headphone and they're talking to you like a TEDx talk and everything, and they're like, this new device is going to do X, Y, and Z and change the world. And we have put X vision and these engineers together to produce the highest piece of technology that the world has seen, and yada, yada, yada. Something like that, except like a TEDx in a conference and things like that. I'm going to do my research on a topic and then give it to you guys, or just actually, talk about what I have new in this business. I'm actually going to do a pitch for my business as well. So, stay tuned for that. A lot of things are just I'm just so excited. I'm able to like talk on my podcast, and I'm just so excited about like what we have going on here. So like, I'm excited because we did just get a new client today too. So it really just came out of nowhere almost. I wasn't really expecting it to be that fast and for her to want to be a client like that. But hey, so let me just tell you the story, guys. So what happened was I used to go to networking meetings physically, as you guys know, as I just said. So I bounced around because I was invited to a networking meeting. And then while I was there, I met somebody who invited me to another networking meeting. And while I was there, another person invited me to another networking meeting. And then coronavirus, boom, everything shuts down. Then I go to a virtual networking meeting that I was invited to from someone from another networking meeting that I physically met. They invited me to a virtual networking meeting. And then, as I normally do at any place, as a lot of other people do, I searched for the closest Black person. And it turned out there was only one. There was one other Black person in that meeting. And as I do, I introduce myself. That's it. I just make it a point to introduce myself to any people of color, of that matter, just anyone of people of color, brown skin, Spanish. I just like to introduce myself because I am here to help the urban communities. So I really just, all I did was introduce myself, and she, asked if she wanted to have a one-on-one. So I said, sure, I love to have one-on-ones. Anytime someone shows any type of interest in what I'm doing, I give my 2 cents. I'm giddy as anything to talk about what I like, what I'm doing. So I really just started talking to her, and we just chopped it up, and then at the end she said she really did like, me as a person, and she said she's been needing an assistant and she wasn't sure, and then she met me, and then she kind of bit over it for a little bit. It took a little bit to get the meeting because kind of some things kept coming up. However, she was very nice about it, and she was, accepting of the fact that I was nice about it, and it really warmed her up. So at the end she said, hey, you know what, I want a proposal, I want to work, and I want an assistant, and she wants to be a client. So I'm drafting up all of the information. I'm going to be finishing that up tonight because it's due to her tomorrow at 2 p.m. when I meet with her for a webinar. So that's how I got that's my latest in my news of business and everything. So you guys are getting a lot of information. It's just, the growth of everything is just, I just love the growth. That's actually been one of my, how do you say, taglines, if you will. That actually used to be a tagline for me at one point, growing forward, because as an assistant, I assist small businesses and professionals, but it's really on the basis of trying to help them grow further. Because if I can help you get 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours a week extra to do whatever you need to do, which would be much more important because I'm taking on, other tasks, I'm able to help that person grow and do things because it might be spending time. That's really the biggest thing. And I'm actually going to be able to cut that into a different segment because that's going to be more of a personal one on why I feel like business owners and professionals need their time back. And that's a personal one. So I'm going to actually split that for a whole different podcast and a completely different like YouTube segment and everything. So that's really what's what I have going on during this lockdown. So since lockdown, I've gotten one client that I didn't get the house to get. So I'm loving this. I'm loving this quarantine kind of thing so far. This lockdown has been a blessing for me. And I don't want that to be in a negative way because it has really affected people a lot and millions of people in a negative way, but there's always a silver lining in certain things. And I just do want to say that this right now is a silver lining kind of thing for me because I am able to grind. I'm an essential worker as being DoorDash. That's like my hustle. And this is what I'm doing as my business and I'm growing. I'm able to bring in some kind of money. I actually billed out today for $70 for a client. So that I'm really getting into loving this, quarantine and everything. It's really been a time for me to regroup myself mentally and then push forward, grow. I'm able to be on TikTok and social media. Yeah, that's been a big thing. I got a new phone and I am killing it on TikTok. Not killing it, like I don't have like any followers. I have like 23. However, since like I got back and I started this little push to try to get 1,000 followers so I can go live on TikTok too, I've gone from like 7 followers to 23 in I think like a week. So it's not like, oh snap, hey, I did something crazy. However, give me another 30 days of doing this. Who's to say? I've been doing TikToks every single day. Go check out my TikToks too. Ad Assistance HQ, just like everything else. So I'm really growing this TikTok thing, and that's part of my business though. My TikTok is part of my business. Everything I do is part of that's why I love what I do. Pause. My mouth is getting watery. I hear myself getting dry. Now that I've been doing more podcasting, I've really learned to listen to my voice to know when I'm like, oh snap, I need to start. Like I know when I need to edit. Promise you those are not sound effects. That's me actually drinking water. Oh, now that I'm hydrated. Yeah. So I am like crushing it on my TikTok consistency. I consistently am now getting like 100 like plays on my TikToks. Like for me, that's good enough. Like if that's what I got to do for a while, that's what I got to do. I'm loving it, and that's why I love what I do because everything I do is part of my business, and everything I do that my business does at some point will pay off in the future. I'm not caring about now, the future. I have planned this entire last year. I planned to go this entire year, no vacations, lowly hustle. Like we're working it, we're grinding this year, and I'm about to go into overdrive mode now. Like now that I'm starting to get things and I'm getting organized and I'm doing it, I'm now going back to revise and execute. This is starting to get serious now. Like my content game is going to be crazy. I'm going to be spending. This is now what I see when people are like entrepreneurs, like they're like spending 16 hours a day. Like my eyes are open. Like it has opened up to me what it means to actually spend 16 hours a day on your business. I'm going to tell you right now, just because it Bob, like for me to give you guys this on my first like YouTube and for nobody to see it is going to crush me. But it's like, whatever. I have to get this out because it bothers me. So my entire 22 years of existence, I have wondered how do you work 16 hours a day in your business? If your business isn't something like my dad's, because my dad would just be like cutting grass and looking at properties and doing all this other, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to do all that. That is not really running a business. And then I really see what it means to run a business and start it from scratch. You're the marketing team. You're the business owner. You're the director, the hirer, the firer, the creative content, the process, the accountant, all of this. However, once the business itself gets established, so once you have your product or service, once you find out, how you're going to be able to keep track of your money, which is, you got your bank account, you got some form of bookkeeping or some form of being able to track how much money comes in and how much money goes out, essentially. Simplest forms. And then being able to find out how you're going to get clients. Are you going to go door to door? Are you going to sell it on social media? Are you going to sell it at conventions and stuff like that? How do you get your clients? And then really, that's almost it. Those are the three things you need: your product and service, how you're going to keep money coming in and going out, and where that money is going to come from. Anything after that is now the actual building part of your business. And this is, I'm going to explain so no one takes what I said out of context. When I started this business, it was just my laptop and phone. It has now become my laptop, my phone, my scanner, and my printer. Now, the growth of just that has stemmed from this. Being a virtual assistant company, everything I did was online. However, I had to come up with different services and how I was going to use those services. So I came up with, emailing, calling, texting, doing social media marketing. Like, you can go see the website; it'll be in the link and everything. But everything that I do, and then you have to find out how you're going to do it, and then you're going to figure out who you're going to do it for. And then after you do all of that, you're going to have to actually go out, like I said, do, execute, repeat. So you're going to go out and find people that you think want this, like you thought, and do it for them. Try at least. Because here's the thing: you might go to these people and see with that you're trying to do something for, and see they don't need what you're looking for. However, the person across the street who you didn't think would need it needs it. So now you change the people that are like him. So now you execute and repeat. It then goes into how you're going to maintain this. Hey, I have to grow this. How are the different ways that I'm going to get my name out there? I can't just go door to door and knocking and everything. So I need a brand. I need to establish myself as what I'm going, like, in my industry. People that know me for what? People that see me think this. People that, have my service feel like that. All of this stuff that surrounds branding, marketing, and then advertising. And then here's the biggest thing: you got to fund it all yourself. So whether it is your service or your project, all of your overhead. I was lucky enough to already have this computer from graduation and everything. So that was a big start, and that's really all I needed. If you have responsibilities, it makes it a lot harder. I keep my responsibilities low. I don't have kids. I keep, my living costs low as I possibly can. That allows me to put more money into my business. And that's why my business has become my hobby. And my hobby, which is my business, I love to do. Because when you spend money, what are you going to spend money on? If you're trying to be rich, or if you're trying to be wealthy, or if you're trying to at least be financially independent, what are you spending your money on? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? My hobby happens to be my business. My business at some point will happen to make me money. And now, while this is my hobby and I can spend money on it like a hobby, it's just an expensive hobby. That is why my hobby is my business. And that is why you need to focus and prioritize what you're doing. So it can be done, but It's just a matter of what you're going to put your time and energy into. So it's this has been for me. This has been my new key. So that's why I'm going to say that's what's been bothering me. The key to working 16 hours a day is once your business is established, once your business is okay, you know what you're going to do, you know your market, you know how it's going to come in and go out, actually going to get that done. Now that you have established your product and service and how you can get it out, and you can get it, all you need to do is get customers. That's the actual building part. How are you going to get customers? Going out and building your client base, going out and continuously growing your brand and your services. If someone buys something from you, you want them to buy from you again. So now you have to fine tune how your buying process is. You might want to make it easier. You might make it sweeter so that they feel happier when they buy it. You might want to put, oh, you added this to your cart. Would you like to check out now, or would you like to continue shopping, instead of it maybe just going directly to the buyout? It's about the fine tuning and the growth. It's not about, anyone can start a business. It really takes is a couple of papers, not even really papers. You just need the idea and say, I want to start a business, and kind of start your business and start doing it. Once you do something for one person, you can kind of say you're in business now. But now growing it to something that's sustainable of yourself is something that's completely different. So that's why my hobby has become my business, and my business is my hobby, because at some point down the line, it will be able to sustain me. And that's why my hobby is cool. I love what I do. If your hobby was bowling, let's take bowling. Because bowling for a lot of people is a hobby. A lot of people bowl as a hobby. However, there's a professional bowling league. So that means you can get paid to bowl, but you're not getting paid to bowl. Someone's hobby, someone who took what they love to do, bowling, or even more relatable, the kid that won like $3 million playing Fortnite, the 16-year-old kid that won like $3 million playing Fortnite, it was a hobby. I'm just playing Fortnite. I want to play. And now I have an opportunity, because it's been accepted for us to play video games, on a large scale, where I have a point I can now compete for $3 million to play Fortnite. Even if you lose, what do you really have to lose? How can you lose? If you were going to play Fortnite in your bedroom with a Pop-Tart and your friends, what does losing playing Fortnite for $3 million? Because now if you won, you have $3 million. So that's why you should chase your goal and do what you love. And it's about the process. And that's why this whole social media aspect and trying to grow my business as a virtual assistant, that's my process. That's what I'm loving that I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do and grow right now. That's why I'm doing this YouTube and podcast at the same time. It's just an expensive hobby to me. Because if it's an expensive hobby, I can afford to pay for it out of wherever my money is coming from. I can afford to pay for it like a hobby. However, occasionally this hobby brings me money back. And eventually this hobby will bring me lots of money back. And that's just really kind of how I think about it. It's just, there's challenges. My challenge right now, the biggest thing, and I'm going to give you guys the tip and the secret, is organization. Organization is the key to managing social media, because hold on real quick. Let me get into mine. Need a water break. So that's the key to social media, organization, because without it, you're lost. You need to contextualize every single piece of content for each different social media, because each platform is going to have different audiences, even though they're all listening to you. They're all different forms of your audience listening to you, because you're not the same person on each platform, usually. So organization is definitely key, because you want to make sure that you're hitting each point regularly on a consistent basis. And without that consistency, at least, it's going to be hard to maintain a consistent flowing platform across. Like, I am slowly growing on each platform. So I'm slowly getting more views on Facebook. I'm now getting, 1 and 2 people in on Instagram, whereas before I was getting 0. I went back down to 0, but 2 people tuned in. So that's a growth. That's growth. I'm getting more views on my Twitter videos. My TikToks are now averaging like 100. So my LinkedIn is doing like 4 or 5 views a post and everything. My podcast is doing much better. So it's about the growth, and I'm psyched for it. Like with my company, the scalability. I'm aiming for the future. I'm aiming for when thinking long term, when voice is going to be the new big thing, where it's big, but it's not going to be. It's going to be the craze. It's going to be like the new thing where it is now the gatekeeper. I'm not going to explain my plans. I'll do that later, but it's still its thing. Like, did you guys know? I always do this. My "Did you know" segment for my podcast. Did you know voice search is its own category of search? So in search engine optimizations, there's different searches. Like, you have searches on Facebook, you have searches on Google, YouTube, you have searches that come from Google itself, keywords. However, Google, like, voice words. So voice search, if you use Alexa, Siri, or anything like that, Bixby, those searches are categorized completely separate. So even if you'd say, "Hey Google, find this," that is not counted as a regular Google search. It's counted as a voice search. Why that's so big for me is because, as a virtual assistant, you can't see me. So the closest you can get is video. The second is audio, which is the biggest thing. So if I can have people say, "Hey Google, call my virtual assistant," that now creates a big, big gap. I'm thinking long term. I told you, it's about unobtainably big goals. Now, nobody is probably going to view this. However, when 1, 2, 3 people do see this, they're like, "Is this kid really thinking he's gonna like have something that is partnered with Google? Like, do you think his business is really gonna be partnered with Google? Who knows?" But 20 years down the line, I'd rather be working towards that. Like, I'd rather have been working towards that for the past 20 years than whatever you guys are doing. I don't know what you guys are doing. However, I encourage you to do what I'm doing and follow whatever it is that you want to do. Do what I'm doing by doing whatever you want to do. I hope, yeah, that's how I like that. Do what I'm doing by doing whatever you want to do. So that's today's podcast. I really felt like this note. I had such good, clear-cut notes. I think I really said I'm gonna have to go back and listen. I think I really said in this podcast, because at least I did pauses and everything. But it was phenomenal. So before I head out, reminder: don't forget to follow me across all social media at Assistance HQ. Big reminder: thank you so much for listening. If you are listening, you are a big supporter. And even if this is your only time listening, I got the stream count, so it doesn't matter. I thank you and appreciate for you taking the time to click on this. So we are done talking and rambling. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Talk to you later. I'm not done on YouTube, but the podcast is almost done now. So we're going to save that as OG Body. And the reason I say it as OG Body is because it's the original body. And when I break it down into podcastings, it's going to be easier. So I know which one is the main title, because it does it weird. So then I got to do an outro, and then we're good. See, I'm giving you guys a lot of great content right now. And I'm going to do my Q&As up here too. I'm going to do my Q&As up on Zoom. So I don't know how I think I'm going to host Q&As and do it like that, because I don't get any feedback on my lives. So I'm actually gonna have Q&A discussions. I'm gonna be able to have people tune in onto my lives to be able to view me. Yay! See, Trip liked my comment. I mean, my post. It was someone from a networking meeting that I met. He liked my post about my YouTube that I did. So congratulations to you guys, because you guys got a post that someone liked. Let's add while that thing is loading, processing. So how are we going to give this outro? What's up, internet? Before you guys leave, what are we going to say follow me on? Do I want to say follow me on everything? Because oh no, just visit my website. Because that has my social. That will have my. Oh, I got to put my social media links on my website. That's important. I don't know how I missed that. See, organization is the key. Like going back, I'm telling you, organization is the key, and it just proved it on my own situation, on myself. If you're not organized, things like that will happen. I have to go put my YouTube. I have to go put my links on everything. I have everything organized up there, but it's not. I don't have my links at the bottom of the page. So how are we gonna outro this? Hey guys. Oh, okay. I know exactly how I'm gonna end it. Hey guys, quick thing before you leave. Follow me on all of my social media at Assistance HQ across the board. Again, follow me on all of my social media. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everything. Assistance HQ. Or, dang, no, let's not do that. I didn't like that. It's too long. What's up, podcast? If you like today's content, follow me on, okay, yep, that's how we're going to do it. What's up, podcast? If you like today's content, follow me at Assistance HQ across all my social media for more great content, or svaofamerica.com. Again, that's Assistance HQ across all my social media, or svaofamerica.com. There we go. And I'm going to add some background music to it. Get something kind of cool, though. Get some beats. I think I like this one. Yeah, this sounds like an ending. This sounds like an ending one. See, listen. Tell me what you guys think. What's up, podcast? If you like today's... See, I like that. Save. Outro. I think I'm going to save this as outro OG because I would like to use this outro again. Outro OG. See, now I got 2 of these processing. So that's the podcast. That's a wrap for the podcast. Like that podcast took that long. So until well, not yet. I still have to wait for it to process and everything. It's still processing, but it's going to be up live tonight. Not tonight, no, because I have to actually drop someone else's podcast. So I have to edit that up and everything and get that done. So thank you guys so much for viewing my very first YouTube. I have a lot of work to get done. So I'll be catching you guys on the flip.